You know what's funny? I recorded episode 11 and then I had to walk away from it for a minute and just let it be. And then you guys showed up. I started getting messages, DMs, and voice memos saying how you related to it and how you appreciated the transparency and how you wanted to hear more. So I did leave pieces on the table that we didn't dig into. So if we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's jump in. Let's start this episode with one goal: to make your day better than it was 5 minutes ago. This is Champagne Smiles and Magical Miles, and welcome home. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. If you've been here before, thank you from the bottom of my heart for returning. I've been teasing this episode for a while. Some of you have been asking about it since I teased it in episode 2 several months ago. I mentioned it again in episode 6, and today, here we are. The whole story. I hope it was worth the wait. My daughter Piper said something to me recently that I keep coming back to. She said, "Mom, you're your own person. This is your first time living here too." And then I thought, she's right. This podcast is me figuring out in real time, and I'm glad that you're here for it. Whether you're a Disney adult, a runner, a dreamer, just a human trying to figure things out, you belong here. Let's go. One of my recurring segments is Sip of the Week. Cheers. And we like to celebrate in this house. My Sip of the week is about slowing down, which is not easy for me if you know me. We always do something big for spring break. I'm a go person. I like to plan the trip, book the thing, make the memories. And this year we stayed home and the big girls weren't here. It was just Maddie Jo and that guy and I. I'm not going to lie. I felt pressure at first, like I was supposed to be somewhere, something I was supposed to be doing, maybe something that was beyond an exotic island or be experiencing something new or just going somewhere post-worthy. But then something shifted. We were together with no schedule, no airport, no stress, no itinerary, which for Maddie Jo and honestly for me was good. It was healing. You don't always have to be busy. You don't always have to have an itinerary. You always have to be doing something. And I realized I didn't need the trip. I needed space to breathe, to be present, to be with my people without the agenda. The only thing we were missing were the big girls. Sometimes the most magical miles aren't the ones at the airport or in the theme park, or they're the ones that you have when you're just in your own home, in your own space, being present. So my sip of the week, a quiet glass at home, and it was exactly what we needed. Cheers. The core of this episode, here we go, jumping in. The last episode, I told you about the scale, the weigh-ins every week in college, about Ipecac syrup, about my love-hate relationship with food, and about the way that words land on a young girl's mind and instructions that she never asked for. What I didn't tell you, and I thought about it later, quite honestly, is that there's something about the complications of the relationship with my body that doesn't disappear. It stays with you and it evolves and it follows you. It stays with you through your 20s, through your pregnancies and your 30s. And yes, absolutely through perimenopause, which is where I am right now, as much as I hate to admit it. So let's talk about surgeries. I talked about curvy body. I always had large breasts, larger than I felt comfortable on my very petite 5'1" frame, larger than my mom's, larger than my sister's. I just got blessed somehow with the curvy, large boobs and the small body. So then in my 30s, I breastfed for 2 years each, my 2 daughters, and my body showed it. My boobs got saggy. It made me uncomfortable. I was self-conscious. I always was wearing a very supportive bra, which hurt my shoulders. And I was like, I need to do something about this. So I decided to do something about it. I wanted to lift. That was it. I just wanted to lift them up. I just didn't want them to be saggy down. I was like literally holding them up. I remember my great-grandmother at the dinner table would lift them up and place them on the table, and I would sit on the table. And I'm like, that feels so uncomfortable. I never want to have to live that way. And I know it hurt her. It wasn't a time that you talked about things like that, but I remember it. And I wish I could have asked her, because I'm sure she would have been like, honey, I don't like it either, but it's the body God gave me. So I wanted to lift. And I have to be honest with you, because I think it might save some of you from making the same mistake I made. I didn't do enough research. I was young. I picked a doctor based on online reviews. I was trusting and I was excited. I didn't ask enough questions. And I think the doctor misunderstood the assignment. He told me he had to put implants in, even though I didn't want them, to make the surgery, to make my boobs look right after the lift. And I trusted him. He told me he needed to make a game day decision on how much saline to put in, and that he would lift me up during the surgery when I was out and make a decision on if he needed to fill them up more. So he put in a size much larger. I can't remember the cc's, but much larger than what I wanted, thinking that he wouldn't fill them all the way. And when it was all said and done, I woke up enormous, not just large. He filled them to the brim. So big that my body couldn't hold them and they fell out of the pocket. So within a few weeks after surgery, I looked deformed. My boobs were elongated, large here, and then still sagging here. I went back for my follow-up appointment and said, Doc, something's wrong. This isn't what I asked for, and it's quite honestly worse than what I had before. And he was like, oh yeah, we can just do this inpatient thing and tack them up and it'll be fine. It made me uncomfortable. So I left the office unhappy and more self-conscious than when I started. And maybe that story will help someone, because it was not a great experience for me. And it was a learning, definitely a part of my life where I learned to ask more questions. I learned to be more cautious about decisions I made with my body. And I didn't tell a lot of people what was going on. It was one of the darkest periods of my life, one of the darkest seasons that I'd been going through. I was in a very unhappy marriage where there were uh, things happening in that marriage that I will talk about at some point, but I'm not comfortable talking publicly about that yet. That deserves its own space. What I can tell you is I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of support. And I was just trying to take care of my girls and take care of my career and feel better about myself. And I just had to live with the boobs the way they were after that surgery. So I did some research. I found someone who had experience in revision surgeries. So at least in my mind, this was a better situation. The challenge was I didn't have money, so I negotiated with them. And one of the negotiating tools was to use the same implants I had and just fix the pocket, lift them back up, put them back in the pocket, but keep those same implants and possibly take some CCs out. So we did the best we could with what we had. My areolas were stretched. I had a lot of scars after 2 surgeries within a year of each other, and I still didn't have the outcome I was looking for. And I don't know how to warn any of you out there that sometimes you think that you want something and you jump into it, and I do that, and then you're like, oh, I was better off the way it was. So all of that said to say, large boobs, but at least they didn't look strange anymore. 2 surgeries later, big, ugly, bad divorce. Time to start over. So now I'm in my 40s. I found the love of my life. I surprisingly, God blessed us with this beautiful baby girl named Maddie Jo that you guys all know. And I nursed her for 2 years, even with these big implants. It was fine. And COVID hit. Told you guys about that story. I gained a lot of weight. I was literally walking from the bedroom to the kitchen, having some cheese and wine, maybe sitting on the patio, on calls all day, and about the residents we care for, rinse, wash, repeat. Shame on me for not exercising, but it was survival. Then at the end of COVID, when it was time to put clothes back on and I realized that nothing fit, I decided to fix what had gone wrong to begin with. And a baby at 41 also wreaks havoc on your body. So my mid-40s, after COVID, and I'm like, I need to start running. And quite honestly, it hurt to run. Held my boobs up like this. I didn't have the right shot. I said this in one of my episodes. I didn't have the right shoes. I didn't have the right bra. I didn't have the right clothing. Even, and we'll talk about this on another one, but even like from a urinary, you're running hard and it's pressure on your body. And after having 3 babies, all the things, right? So it was uncomfortable and I didn't enjoy it. And literally, when Kyle's trying to help run with me, and I'm like, I can't run because it hurts and I'm holding myself like this. I did find the right supportive bra, which I encourage any runner to do. Please, 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 if you have questions, ask me. I still to this day wear a she fit because I can adjust it, and it's probably more aggressive now than what I need, but it's my security blanket. At some point, we'll talk about all the things that I wear and use for races that make me feel comfortable, but get the right supportive bra. But I went and found best in class doc. I found two. I interviewed them both, and I don't think either one of them I could have gone wrong with. They were highly recommended for revisions, for corrections, for making things right that had gone wrong. And when my doctor said, we can take these out, we can make these look right, I said, yes, please, let's do. And so I had a revision surgery. We removed all the pocket, the entire scar tissue, everything, and the implants. He asked if I wanted them. I said no. He took a picture and showed me everything, all the scar tissue, everything was gone. Redesigned and remade my boobs, which I now love and am comfortable with. And they're the tiniest things I've ever had. After losing the 35 pounds, I had the breast revision and tummy tuck at the same time. I don't regret it. I was worried about the mommy makeover and scars from hip to hip, but I don't regret it. I'm happy now for the first time in my entire life. Probably I'm comfortable and happy in the body I'm in. And that's, I think, end goal. And the reason I'm sharing all this is that you need to be comfortable and happy in the body that you're in, whatever that means. We were given these bodies, and by God, and I am grateful for the body I have. And shame on me for so many surgeries and having to learn the hard way. But you need to be confident and comfortable. So do what you have to do what you need to do. So that's the surgery story. I don't hold my boobs anymore when I run. And after losing the weight, I don't really pee myself anymore like I used to. So that's good. So then we talked about the GLPs, and the perception is that they're an easy way, just a tool. And it is a tool. So it's not easy. You still have to be disciplined. You still have to guard yourself and understand that you're making a decision to do something for your body. But if it makes it easier for you to exercise, if it makes you feel more energetic, if it helps you to move more and to eat right, then it is a tool in your journey. It's not for everyone, but it did make a difference for me. So implants, revisions, GLPs, all of that to say that I spent too many years being quiet about my choices. I was afraid that people would think it didn't mean that I was willing to put the real work in. And now that I've proven I can put the real work in, and maybe that's my obsession with running, but I have proven that I'm not afraid to put the real work in, to run the marathons, to finish the dopies. And so it's not shortcuts. They are decisions, but I think walking to the office and saying, I don't feel comfortable with my body, help me, is a very brave decision if that's what you need to do, for whatever that is. So self-advocacy is important. Doing the research is important. Understanding what's right for your body is important. But at the end of the day, be comfortable with who you are, where you are at whatever time in your life you are. Told the story about being the first one in my family to go to college, walking onto campus, being alone, not understanding all of what it meant to be in college and not understanding how to pay for it. But I figured it out. Been walking into rooms my whole life, figuring it out. One of my professors said, "Fake it till you make it." And it was one of the best pieces of advice I'd ever gotten. Walk into the room, be confident, and fake it till you make it. You have to think, am I doing this from a place of love and a love for myself and my body? Or is this an unhealthy place to be? In the first surgery, I was probably running from something. I was uncomfortable running figuratively, not literally. So this last one was a place of love. Finally, me saying, I've done enough. I deserve to feel good. And I was in a completely different place. Okay, so there's the heavy part of this story, but it's all good and it's positive. And I hope that my story can help someone else wherever you are in your journey with your body and your life. So last week it was, I am enough and you are enough. This week is choice. I think we spend too much of our lives reacting. What do other people think? What's the number on the scale tell me? And then finally, we make it to a season where we decide that we can make those choices. So don't wait. Make the choices that are right for you. Make the choices that are right for your family. When do you call your doctor? What do you say to yourself in the morning at 6 a.m. before anyone wakes up? What you decide to try to change and to accept or let go of, it's your choice. These are all choices, every single one of them. Choice is power. Your weekly pep talk. Write this down. Say it to yourself. You are allowed to do hard things and ask for help doing them. You're allowed to use every tool available to you, whether it's a good supportive sports bra, whether it's the pee panties that I won't run without, even though I don't need them anymore. They're still a security blanket. Whether it is having someone to run with you, like a partner who doesn't like running, but with you. Whether it is a medication like a GLP-1, whether it is a surgery, whatever that is, you're allowed that choice and be confident in making those choices for yourself. You're not less disciplined because you use a tool or any support. You're not less strong. You're not less worthy because your journey doesn't look like someone else's. The only person you owe your story to is yourself. Own it, all of it. The messy parts, the brave parts, the parts you're still figuring out. It's not weakness. It's the most courageous thing you can do as a person. Okay. One of my favorite segments is Sparkle and Glow Up. So before I get into Sparkle and Glow Up this week, last week we talked about body image and taking care of yourself from the inside. I hope some of you have been sitting with that. This week, I want to give you 2 things that have become non-negotiables for me. And I want to be clear, this isn't paid marketing, although I'll be very happy always to give you links to things that I like to use. This is just something that I have learned that I use every single day. And I encourage you, especially if you're on a weight loss journey or on a journey to get healthier, and especially if you're perimenopausal. One is magnesium. I was having leg cramps, hot sweats at night. I cannot get enough magnesium. I drink it in my liquids during the day. I take it as a liquid at night. I take pills. Magnesium, my leg cramps, I can tell a difference. Even when I'm running or not, my legs will ache at night if I haven't had enough magnesium. And I will wake up in the middle of the night. I'll have some hot sweats. I wish someone had put it in my hands years ago. If you wake up at 3 a.m. and your brain is full of things running around, muscle cramps, perimenopause, it helps your nervous system calm down. It supports deep sleep. It helps with muscle recovery. And then the second is creatine. And I know you think creatine is for bodybuilders, but that's what I thought when somebody told me, like, I had 2 friends within a week say, I can't believe you're not taking creatine. And I'm like, isn't that for like bodybuilders? And I don't want to get all bulky. And what I learned is that creatine is for everybody, especially for women over 35. And what I didn't understand is it's not about bodybuilding, bulk. It supports your brain, your energy, your recovery. I was watching this neurosurgeon that he's in Florida, and he's talking about Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's is near and dear to my heart because of my background in long-term care and helping the geriatric population and being a speech pathologist. So we're learning as we get older, our natural creatine levels drop. So people need it more, even though we don't think that they need it because they're not bodybuilders and they're not trying to build muscle. They're trying to hang on to muscle. And your brain is a big, huge muscle that needs to be supported. So creatine, great for your muscle, great for your memory, great for your body. I put a scoop into my water in the morning. It is unflavored. I also take gummies as well. So more than what you would think you need, take it. Neither of these are glamorous, but I think they're best habits, and I hope that it helps you. So my breakthrough moment this week was realizing that this whole journey, GLP-1s, the surgeries, the choices I've made, stopped about being about weight a long time ago. It became showing up for myself, being someone who follows through, about being strong, being present, being there for my kids, being there for my work, being there for my husband, being there for people that I love and care about, being there now for this viewership, for my followers, for people that I have connections with from all walks of my life and from places that I don't even don't know you directly, but I feel like I do know you. Your challenge this week is something I want you to think about. What's one choice you've been putting off for yourself because you're waiting for permission to do it? What's the one thing? Appointment you haven't booked, conversation you haven't had, the thing you've been researching at midnight but you haven't acted on. You have permission. You always have. You always did. It's your choice. Word of the week choice. So last week I talked about, this is a new segment from the page. I started reading the book More Than a Body by Lexi and Lindsay Kite. And I am still very early on in the book, but I read a couple of pages, 2 or 3 pages before I fall asleep every night. I love this quote. Positive body image isn't believing your body looks good. It's knowing your body looks good, regardless of how it looks. Isn't that incredible? Positive body image. I'm going to put this in my memory. Isn't believing your body looks good. It's knowing your body looks good, regardless of how it looks. I love that. I spent years trying to get to a number on the scale, and something that I've learned is it's not the number, it's all here. I'm learning the goal was never a number. It's always to feel good, to feel strong. So I'll keep reporting and being transparent with you guys. I love your feedback. I'd love to hear from you. Every time I get your feedback, I try to continue to evolve and be more open, be more transparent, say things that I wouldn't normally say. And I hope it's helpful to someone out there. I'd love to know if any of you are reading it too. I'd love to hear what you think about the book. Another recurring segment is Magical Mile Moment. Before we wrap up, I want to give you this week's magical moment. I have to tell you, it is about the infamous Maddie Jo, who has been a guest host on this show. We spent most of the spring break working on a big science project. And when I say it took our week, I mean, it was not a quick afternoon thing. It was supposed to be done in school. It didn't get done at school. We worked on it every single day, and she showed up. She didn't complain. She kept going. She wrote paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, and she is a slow writer. At the end of the week, I told her how proud I was of her, and she just shrugged and said, "Mom, I knew I could do it. Not I hope or I can or I'll try." She said, I knew I could do it." That's the quiet confidence that we spend our whole adult lives trying to find. And she just has it. At 10 years old, she has quiet confidence. I wish I had it at 10 years old. Same lesson, different ride. Maddie Jo taught me a long time ago that confidence comes after you do the hard thing. After you do the hard thing, not before. She told me she learned that after riding the Tower of Terror. She was scared before she did it, and she's like, I got it. And her favorite ride, Tower of Terror. I learned it in college when I first stepped out of my car onto that big college campus. I learned it in the surgeon's office when I needed to be brave and stand up for myself and ask the right questions. I learned it in the boardroom. I learned it many times throughout my life and my career, standing up for my kids. You guys have learned it as well. The way you take care of yourself is nobody's business but yours. It's your business. It's your body. Not social media, not your friends, not the version of you from 10 years ago who thought there was only one right way to do this. You're allowed to use tools that are available to you. You're allowed to make choices for your body, and you're allowed to show up in a body that finally feels like yours. Your body is your home. The only question worth asking is, am I doing this for me or am I doing it for someone else? When you can honestly say it's for me, it changes everything. All right, let's wrap this up. So before I let you go, I know last week I alluded to a new partnership I was excited about. That's not the purpose of all of this conversation. It was just very serendipitous that an owner of a female GPL1 company reached out to me, and we met, and I felt good about her and what her story was, and she has a great story as well. So if you're interested, I would love to send you a link and share with you. You do get $100 off. Next week, we are going to talk about perimenopause. It's something that no one warned me about. My mom said menopause was 10 years of her life. I think this is what she's talking about. So I was running and running. Somehow I gained weight, 3 a.m. wake up, brain fog. The moment finally came, I called a doc and said, what is wrong with me? If you're in it, you need this episode. If you're approaching it, you really need this episode. If you know someone that's going through it, you need this episode or send it to them. If you've already gone through it, maybe you can help me. Understanding the changes and how to handle it and how to deal with your body and accept it. Thank you for being here for episode 12 of Champagne Smiles and Magical Miles. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. This community, the messages, the support, people showing up and saying to me, I get something out of this, I take it with me. That's why I keep doing this. I get asked by some people in my life, one being my brain manager, Teresa, and my mom. I'll talk more about her. She's okay when I call her out like that. Why do you spend the time doing the podcast? Of all the things you do, why the podcast? I do that because I enjoy it, because I'm passionate about. And what I'm talking about is hopefully helping someone somewhere out there, at least some piece of this. I'd love to hear from you, whatever your journey looks like right now. Message me. You can text me directly through the podcast link. It goes straight to my phone, or you can email me at stephanieintheparks@gmail.com. If this episode meant something to you, share it, tag me, tell me what hit home, subscribe, follow the page, download the episodes. If you share the podcast and tag me, then I will definitely get you some swag from the podcast. Until next time, book the trip, read the book, sign up for the race. Pop the bubbles, do whatever it is that makes you happy, makes you feel alive, and makes you like yourself. Love, hug, kisses. Until next time, it's Maddie Jo time.